I'm back with what I believe is the most delicious thing you should be cooking this holiday season, a ham. It's underrated, it's budget friendly, it's the perfect thing to be making, especially if you're trying to impress your mother-in-law or this is your first time hosting the holiday dinner. It is not hard and it's also incredibly delicious. When it comes to buying the ham, what you're looking for is bone-in. That's going to deliver the best flavor, and one of my favorite things to do is to make a soup or a stew with the leftover bone. I've got one bone-in ham, looks like this. So this we would be slicing ourselves. You can also pick up something just as similar, but it's already spiral sliced. You can do the same recipe with either ham. Also, sometimes on the label, it says something like cured. It may be wet cured or dry cured. It could even be smoked. That means, it's been given a little bit of base flavor and it is fully cooked. So easy. Sometimes they will also come with these little packs of glaze and rub. We're gonna make our own. This is where our chef skills come in handy. Let's talk about how big of a ham we need to buy. You want to factor in the weight of the bone. So I like to say about 3/4 of a pound per person. Now someone's not gonna eat 3/4 of a pound of ham, except maybe one of my cousins. You want a little bit of leftover. They're probably gonna actually eat about 1/4 to 1/3 pound. But with the weight of the bone, you need to figure about 3/4 of a pound per person. Look, I've got them both out. I'll just cook them both. You wanna kind of pat it dry so that your glaze will stick. First step is we wanna create a little bit of liquid in the bottom of our roasting pan. This is going to keep it from drying out. It's also gonna keep our glaze from sticking to the bottom of the pan. It's gonna make our cleanup a breeze. It's not a terrible idea to line your roasting pan. The one I'm using is sort of non-stick and I've got a rack set on top. But you wanna give it a little extra insurance, give it a spray. My grandmother and my mom use like Coca-Cola. That is delicious. It's gonna add some aromatics and also some extra sweetness. You could also use beer is a great option, especially if you want to kind of tame some of that sweetness. I'm just going to do water with a little bit of spice in there. It's going to kind of perfume the ham. Plain water is also fine. Going in with about a cup of water. To that, I'm going to add some cloves. These have just been sitting in my pantry, so why not use them? Also adding a couple of star anise pods. And then finally, I'm going to add the rack on top of that. So I'm going to get our hams. I'm just gonna go ahead and cook both of them. You wanna put your ham with like flesh side down. That way our meat does not dry out and you can really just form the crust all over the outsides. So it goes in. If you're doing a spiral ham, it can go straight in the oven just like that. If you're using one of these other guys, we want to kind of create some grooves in there with a knife. This is gonna, make it look a little fancy, but it's really just to create little traps for that glaze. Create lines going one direction and then space them out about 1 inch or so apart going the other direction. You want to go about 1/4 of an inch deep into the pan next to the other one. And we're going to give it a head start in the oven, about 325 degrees, just to kind of wake it up while we make our glaze. Slather it on there, and we've got ham. I told you it was easy. If that big old pan seems intimidating, or maybe you don't have that kind of pan, buy 1 or 2 of those big aluminum pans, and you can set that into just a rimmed baking sheet or double them up. And at the end of the day, you just throw it away. All right, now for the glaze, it starts with a good cup of brown sugar. Because I have 2 hams, I'm gonna double this recipe. At the end of the day, you're just looking for something sweet to balance out the naturally salty ham. To that, I'm going to add some honey. Then for just a hint of a salty kick, I'm gonna add in some Worcestershire, and then some good tanginess from some Dijon mustard, and a little more tang from some rice vinegar. Kosher. And then I'm gonna kick it up with a good bit of black pepper and a couple pinches of cayenne. Just give it a mix. It's gonna be thick and grainy, like a real thick paste. I'm gonna give it a taste. We're just gonna work this first coat of glaze into the ham kind of getting it in the crevices. Basically, you want to kind of baste this every 20 to 30 minutes, but that's only going to be about 3 or 4 times during the cooking process because we just want to kind of create layers of that crust. Back into the oven it goes. During this time, you get your kitchen clean, you make a cocktail, you get your sides, and the ham just does its own work. All right, it's been about 20 minutes. It's starting to look so good. I'm doing the second coat of basting right now. When it comes to the total cook time, you want to figure about 14 to 16 minutes per pound. So I'm looking at 2.5 hours basting every half hour, so about 4 times you'll baste it total. And this is the second. Looking good. Woo! That smells so good. I'm gonna get them out of the pan onto a serving tray, and let me show you how to dish it up. Lay it on a platter, garnish it very simply. I like to do a couple slices of orange with some fresh sprigs of rosemary or whatever fresh herbs. You can just serve it straight on a board and kind of put some rolls out and let people slice and eat. And don't forget the goodness that is in all the pan drippings. I like to just kind of spoon that over at the end. You gotta admit, this is impressive, and you saw just how easy it was. This is gonna serve a huge crowd, plus you'll still have leftovers. Follow me on Instagram for ideas what to do with the ham bone. This ham is so tender and juicy, the perfect bite. You really don't need to spend the money on an overpriced baked ham when you see how easy it is to make one your own for about 1/3 of the price, and then you get to keep all the leftovers and the bone. It's a win-win. From buying it to serving it, I hope these tips and tricks help you make the perfect ham this holiday season or any time of year. And I love reading the comments, so let me know what you want me to teach you how to make next. See you next time. You want a bone-in whole ham